Yo everyone, what's going on? Couriway here, and today I have a little bit of a different video in our 100k challenge series video-esque type things. I wanted to try something new and do a little bit of post-run analysis on some of my crazier runs that I've had pace-wise, not just silly stuff that happens in the run. A crazy seed that I really want to draw attention to where maybe some luck just didn't go my way because it's no reset or I have to play a little bit safer. So today is exactly one of those seeds. You're going to see what happens in it, but it is a run that was arguably my best pace ever, and it's just an absolutely crazy run. So without further ado, let's get into this analysis. But hold on just one second. Have you seen the new Couriway plushie from Blockheads? This squishy and kickable friend is available now until April 8th for just $29.99 USD, and I couldn't be happier with how it came out. I really wanted it to look as closely to my character's head as possible, and I think the size of the glasses really helped make it stand out, along with, of course, the classic crown. It's a really cool product that I'm genuinely proud of. So if you're interested, you can check it out using the link in the description or the one on screen now. Thank you so much. Now let's fly back to the video. All right, so here we go. This was the 11th run of the day, and you can see I'm right off lunch, so I didn't have like a run before this to like warm up, which is always kind of funny. And maybe I could actually take the lunch break text off the screen since, you know, it's actually not lunchtime anymore. I'm actually in the run, so maybe we could do that. Oh, I'm also going to adjust my timer. Okay, that's good. You can't see my face because I am covering my face. I thought it would be cool to just like put my face over where I'm actually playing. You can see we're in a plains, we have a coast, and we have a full shipwreck. And the first thing I'm doing is I'm raising my render once I see this, and I have hitboxes on because I'm looking for kelp. I'm looking for kelp in the ocean. This is probably something, if you're familiar with Minecraft speedrunning, you've heard of before. Basically, when magma ravines spawn, they break the kelp on top of them, and that kelp is just, you know, an item now, and you can actually find that in the ocean, and it's a good indicator of a magma ravine. Now I'm going to finally get rid of the lunch break text. That's great. And you can tell also the food chest is really solid in the shipwreck, and I also get a bunch of iron. So I have a ton of stuff here, and if I actually did see kelp in this ocean, I probably would just go. But since I don't see kelp in this ocean, what I'm doing here, I think in my opinion, looking back, is a misplay. I'm grabbing 2 logs here, but there's no real reason to grab 2 logs here because what I want to do anyway is craft shears and go to the logs or the trees in the background to actually get more blocks for no reset, because again, I don't know what the heck is going to happen. You could kind of argue like getting this flint is good, but I don't need to get like more animals for food or anything like that. So there's no real reason to take 2 logs there. It's just kind of a waste of time because I'm going to get the rest of my wood here kind of anyway. Just not really necessary. I'm going to blast through these leaves, get a bunch of blocks. Normally what I do in no reset when I have shears is I just completely get rid of everything along the way. Like I just completely break my shears because I want to have as many blocks as possible. You never know really what's going to happen. And I usually do that, but in this seed particularly, I end up not doing that because this pace is still really good. Like whenever I have a seed that can be a little bit faster, I mean, at the time of this recording, my no reset PB was 13 minutes and 34 seconds. So I know that anything with like a 4-ish minute enter or less has the potential to PB if the nether is really good. So I'm kind of playing for that. And again, I don't really see kelp here, but I know the ocean can be misleading sometimes, and kelp is not the only indicator of a magma ravine. There can be magma ravines with no kelp, and you're actually going to see here, when I turn to the left, there is a magma ravine. There was just no kelp in this general area, so I didn't see it beforehand. But if I actually saw this, and I like just boated this way after the boat, I saved probably like 45-ish seconds or so, but I enter with much worse materials, so it's kind of a give and take in no reset. You can also see this ravine is kind of wacky, but I make a really heads-up play here, and I get the magma ravine to actually work. The first one doesn't, but I know that this ravine, if it's going to pay off, I need to try a different spot, and I do get it to pay off. So I clutch up the portal build here, really nice. I do forget 1 piece of magma, but that's totally fine. We get rid of that. I have my flint and steel already, and boom. So this is a really fast enter for no reset. 240 is really nice pace, and immediately I don't have a lava bucket, unfortunately. I wasn't able to grab it, but we are in a ravine. But I do have an instant Bastion spike that is so instant that I can't even lower my FOV all the way down to 30 to do an E-ray check. I only can go to like 50 to actually see the Bastion. That's how close this Bastion is. I find this like weird opening here, and then I realize, okay, I'm gonna have to dig here. Let me get my boat out, and I can see the housing is right in front of my face. Instantly when that happens with the boat, I can tell that this is a housing. So I already know, like, okay, this is manhunt housing. I know where I'm coming in. I want to play this as fast as I can, and I'm at the bottom of manhunt housing in 3 minutes. Now the problem is that there are a bunch of zombie piglins, and that's actually my fault. You might think that that's like a luck RNG based thing, but if you wait for your render to spawn, or like wait for your chunks to load when you load in the nether instead of just like instantly unpausing, you actually are loading more chunks before any mobs spawn in, so zombie piglins will have more of a range to spawn in your nether. But I unpaused very quickly, and as you can see, this nether is kind of a wall so far. So there was no, like, places for them to spawn, really, besides the bottom of Manhunt housing. Now, thankfully, it doesn't affect it too much. As you can see, I actually still get a decent amount of piglins, but this is immediately crazy pace. So I'm at the bottom of Manhunt housing, it's sub 4, I'm trading, and the first thing I'm doing is I'm messing with my pie chart now that I'm actually getting the piglins in, and I'm trying to figure out where the mob spawner is. Now, I am not doing a good job of getting to the correct section of the pie chart because I'm trying to mine gold blocks as I do it, but now I can see I have a spawner. The spawner is the blue section, the purple is just for chests, which obviously there's chests like everywhere in the nether. So I'm caring about that blue section, it loads, and it is like a 12 chunk fort from where I am, which is incredibly close. Like, no reset normally. I would say my average fort is probably like 25 chunks on average. So 12 here is amazing. You can see Jake in the chat, 12 chunk pause. Like, that's something that is very exciting at this point. And really now I just need to organize my inventory. Housing is incredibly fast, so I need to do it as quickly as possible. But I have pretty much everything that I need. I'm just double checking that I have all my stuff. I believe I have only 10 obsidian, so that is not going to cut it. But I have enough pearls, I have enough everything else. And I need to find obsidian. Where am I going to get the rest of my obsidian? Let's check this chest down here. I get some. I'm up to 14, but it's still not enough. So I need to, unfortunately, head to the top of the housing bastion to get more chests. But first thing I'm going to do is check the quadrants to figure out what direction I need to go for my fortress. Now, by doing this check, I know from my directional awareness that the fortress is the same direction that I actually came in from. So I need to go back out the way I came. I also like going up here, though, because it opened the door for potential terrain up here. And I do get 20 obsidian in the first double chest that I open, which is really nice. I try to go this way because I know there's no terrain where I enter. And unfortunately, this ends up being a pretty big misplay. Because if I went back down to the bottom and went back through where I came, I would have a little bit, at least more terrain where I came in instead of just digging here, because I already made my pathway in, right? So I could take that pathway back out. And even though, as I get hit with a poison stew, which is always lovely, even though I'm going back the way I came and I have to go all the way back down to housing and everything like that, it still is, I think, a little bit better because I had like the cave opening for my portal. Maybe the dig there is a little bit better, but I also stand by this plan in some ways because I have 70, my Y value is 73, and 73 is a really good Y value to be for like fortress or just like open terrain in the nether, compared to being at really low down at like Y, I don't know what I was, but like 41, 42, like it's very low. So this is actually probably better for terrain, but I just have nothing. I left this bastion incredibly fast. I have a fortress in less than 7 chunks away, because when I lower my render all the way to 2, I still have my my pie chart open with my spawner. And you can see now that I'm out of the terrain, finally I can see the fort, and I am in this fortress, the second fastest fortress I've ever had, 6 minutes and 27 seconds. This is, I think, over a minute faster than my 1334 PB. So this is a crazy fast pace still. The only thing that's a little bit unfortunate is that I wasn't able to make golden carrots because of everything kind of happening so fast and needing more obby trades. Like, I didn't already have obby, so I wanted to trade all my gold out to make sure that I could get as much obby as possible to try and get 20. And now I'm going to do a blaze bed. So not having the gold carrots is a little bit slow here, excuse me, on like regen and stuff. But it is still like, you know, I have plenty of food at least. It's not like I have no food. Blaze bedding the spawner here is obviously really nice. I build a way too big platform. Looking back at this run, almost over 1,000 runs later, this is way too big of a platform. I only need to go out 3. I don't know why I'm going out 4 and then 2 on the sides. Like, I am giving these blazes so much land. Oh my god. But my inventory is still kind of a disaster. And as you can see, my inventory is not going to be the only thing that's going to be a disaster here. There are a couple reasons why this run did not go as amazingly as it could have. But you could also see there's a double spawner right here, which is kind of insane. It's not like a perfect double spawner because I kind of have to stand in an awkward spot to activate both, but I can activate both. And I'm building my portal here, probably in the hindsight a little bit early. I probably should have organized a little bit of inventory stuff first, like my bed crafts, my explosive crafts, my anchors, maybe even getting like a better pickaxe, because my pickaxe is actually very low durability. I could probably just get another one of those. But in my brain, I'm just thinking, like, I want to push this pace as fast as I can. I know this is PV potential. I want to play this as quickly as possible. But unfortunately, the blaze is not really cooperating. The terrain already not really cooperated. Unfortunately, that terrain probably lost me like 90-ish seconds. comparatively. I mean, I didn't lose too much time like digging into the housing, but I definitely lost a lot of time going to the fortress, which is kind of a bummer. But I do have 5 rods now, which is actually not the worst thing in the world. So I decided to blind here. I still have to do so much inventory management, and that's something that I've gotten so much better at in the last, I would say, 1,000 runs or so, is really being aware of like what I need to do with the blaze spawner, what I need to do post blind, what I need to do post bastion, just to kind of organize myself, maybe even what I need to do in the bastion. Look at this eye throw. It just barely gets over the grass block for me to be able to measure it, which is really nice. And another thing that I have really struggled with on fast-paced runs is doing a really poor job of distance estimating. Now, I'm going to actually listen in here. What do I say the angle change is? I think it's a 0.7 angle change. So a 0.7 angle change here. If I'm wrong, you just make fun of me in the comments. I'm listening with incredibly low audio. If it's a 0.7 angle change, that is about 1,500 blocks away, which is not amazing. Oh, it's on 1. I can see the chat. 96.6 on 1. Beautiful. Thank you, Quenta, in the chat. So 1 is actually about 1,000 blocks away. And I'm also on a straight line because it was like 96.6 or whatever. So that's like a very straight line compared to it being like a 45-degree angle or like a little bit off. It's only like that off, which is like not bad at all. It should be very hittable. And that's something, for some reason, I really struggle with on fast-paced runs. I just completely blank on distance estimation. Not only like I don't do the math wrong, but when I'm actually distance estimating, I feel like I do a really poor job of like lining my crosshair up because I think I'm a little bit more nervous or just not like paying as close attention as I should. And that kind of bites me in the butt in some circumstances. We'll have to see if it does here. I do have craft all my explosives. I don't have like an insane amount, but I do have enough for at least 0 cycle. Not a ground 0, but I have a lot. You can see I'm still killing blazes. And that's because I, obviously, as you just saw, don't use a calculator. So I only have 10 Eyes of Ender right now. I still need more rods after killing all of these blazes. So even if I was using the calculator, now I could go at 6 and I get 7 because I need to make sure that I actually know what I'm doing. Now I'm redoing my math to make sure that I have everything that I need to know, which is definitely a misplay. I should have done this as soon as I went back through the nether, but I'm doing my math now, and I know exactly where I have to go about now. Like now. I like botched this measurement so much. There we go. I'm out. Okay, so I'm going this direction. It's like 150 blocks in the nether. Negative 254.23. Thank you again, Quenta, in the chat. I need to go this way. It's basically a straight line. And you can tell this terrain is actually really nice. So I hit this terrain. I'm basically like here. Like you can see on my coords, I'm only 25 blocks off. So I get here really quickly. And this terrain is just like perfect because as soon as it ends is like right where I need to build my portal. So that is just really nice. And this concludes one of the craziest nethers that I've ever had in this challenge. Even with that wall, the proximity of everything and just the general openness of where I need to go for coords is something that does not happen often. So many times I'm just digging in a wall. There was a run recently where I dug 1,800 netherrack and broke, not joking, 48 gold pickaxes. So that just happens sometimes. And the fact that that doesn't happen in a run where already so many things have gone right, like the enter, like the bastion proximity, like the fortress proximity, but it is no reset. And there's going to be things that go wrong, like the blaze rates or the terrain and things like that. But my distance estimation here is not amazing. It's actually not as bad as I remember because I know where the stronghold is here. You're going to see it in a second. It's in this ravine, which is actually quite nice. So I'm off by like 100-ish blocks or so, which is actually not too bad. I actually thought it was worse. So I actually do, like, 100 is not within the range. Like, it's still a mismeasurement. I probably measured, like, 0.1 off or so. But not nearly as bad as I thought it was. So actually, I kind of totally okay with this in hindsight. And now I'm in the stronghold. And this is a pretty good pace. Like, this could, you know, sub 13 at this point. But I'm obviously not at the starter of the stronghold. So I need to try and find the start of the stronghold. I make a really aggressive play here. I see light down the staircase, and I'm thinking, wow, that has a lot of space. Like, maybe the portal room can generate there. It doesn't. I'm just wasting time. Not the greatest. And it's also a little bit hard to get a preemptive spike here because there's a zombie fighting a skeleton and another zombie coming in. But I do try and measure a preemptive spike. I feel okay about it, but I need to figure out what direction I need to go because I think it's to my left. And there, boom, find it. Great job, preemptive in hindsight, figuring this out, even doing it with the zombie and everything there. I actually do a really nice job. And I am going to try and go for 0 here. I do have, I believe, 7 explosives, which is like completely fine for me for 0. Unfortunately, though, you're going to have to see my reaction. 61? 61? Dude. I don't think I've ever seen 61. I'm not even joking. So what I mean when I'm saying 61 is that is the Y level of the surface above me. So I have to, and when you spawn in, I actually forget what you spawn in on. You saw it in the thing. I think it's like 50 or 48 or something like that. Basically, 61 is unheard of. I have done, up to this point, at the time of recording this, I've done 5,300 runs. I've done over 5,300 runs. I have never seen another 061. I have had 061 once, that was this run, and I've had 060, I think, twice. Normally, when it's cage, it's like 56, 57, something like that. Pretty standard, common. 061 is absolutely absurd. So, unfortunately, there's no way I was going to be able to go for a 0 here, which actually could have still beat my 1334 at the time, which would have been really cool. But unfortunately, it just didn't end up going out that way because I just can't do anything with 061. I also, what am I doing here? Oh my god, Dragon's Breath. Let's not just totally throw. I think I also still have bread in my inventory, and I'm just, for some reason, just been chugging carrots the whole time. No, I did finally eat my bread. Okay, well, that's at least good. But there's nothing really I can do besides sit here and wait for the perch because I don't have the materials for a ground zero. I guess you can do ground zero with 7 explosives. I don't know if I have the iron to do a ground zero. I do. I have 64 nuggets, but 7 explosive ground zero is incredibly risky and not something I would go for if I don't have a backup, or like at this point I'm just kind of playing for a sub 15, right? So that's kind of what I'm going for. But I hope you enjoyed this absolutely crazy run. The potential of no reset is crazy. One day everything is just going to line up and you'll have to be here to see it. But for now, enjoy the 1 cycle. Oh! 3+1, baby! Give me that! Let's go! Let's freaking go! Imagine! Like, let me sit there all day on this run. Let me sit there all day. Let me sit there all day, man. Are we serious? Are we serious?